conference will now be recorded.
Hotep, everyone. I wish to do a brief video on a conversation of the Kamau leadership and hierarchy mysteries, how we organize and structure hierarchies and leadership patterns. So, the first thing I wish to talk about is here. This is an image of the hours of the Duat of Ra, Sesham Duat. And so we have here Ra shown as this ram headed deity. And he represents the Aten, the sun. In fact, let me start with this image from my Paut mandala. So we have here on the right, the Paut means map, basically, or schematic. Here we have the zodiac, the chakra row here, and the ancestors here. So we have the pharaoh. His main connection was to the sun, to Aten, the sun, which is lord of the zodiac. So the pharaoh had to plug into the sun. So he's the main leader because the sun is the main leader of our solar system. Okay. So these are the raw mysteries here. This row of chakras, this is an abbreviated list of chakras here, is the queen mother called Ast, Speret, or Sirius. So the pharaoh focused on the sun and its mysteries. And because the sun is the primary force of our solar system, it is the king. The queen focused on the star Sirius, which is the chakras. And then we have the Osar mysteries, which are the tree of life, as well as the meridian shown in this little Ma'at plinth here. So we have the solar leadership of the male, the pharaoh. This is the queen mother. And this is the ancestors or the Osar mysteries. So Ra, Ast, Osar. Okay. Now, here we have Ra, the lord of the solar mysteries. This is the pharaoh. In front of him is Nebuchadnezzar, which means queen of the boat, but she represents both the sky itself as a woman and the star Sirius. Is often shown as Ast or Heteru. So here we have the male pharaoh, the queen mother, the joy of the chakra work from Sirius. And we also have the women control the mysteries of astrology itself. This is the goddess Nut, the sky goddess. She is a goddess, which meant that she was affinity to women. And they're showing her arching over the sky, giving birth in the east to the light of the son of the pharaoh, who brings joy, Heteru, to the land. Okay, so the women were preeminently astrologer priestesses, and this here is Osar Orion, the Osar mysteries, the Tree of Life mysteries, as well as the mysteries of the acupuncture meridian system. This is your Osar body called your Sahu. And we would organize hierarchies according to how the stars do it. So every constellation has what's called an alpha star, shown here as A for alpha. And then it had lesser stars, often lesser brighter stars. Not all the times were the alpha stars the brightest, but often they are. So let's just go with that basic premise. So this is, let's say, the constellation Hydra, and the alpha star is called Alphard here in the heart of the serpent. So you would have the Hydra constellation temple of priests and priestesses, and the high priest or priestess would be the embodiment, the keeper of the alpha star. So the high priest or priestess would be the Alphard priest or priestess in Hydra, and the subordinate workers in the temple government would be these other less bright stars. And your rank was determined by which star you were to keep to enliven to worship. And the dimmer the star, the lower your status. Here we have the constellation Lacerta, the reptile, the lizard. Alpha Lacerta, the brightest star here. So the high priest of this constellation, or high priest, would be the keeper of this star. And he or she would have subordinates, which would be the keepers of the lesser stars. So we organized our hierarchy and leadership to imitate nature, to imitate the sky. In sum, the Aten, the sun, is the brightest and most powerful being or entity in our solar system. That's the Pharaoh. The brightest evening star would be Sirius, which is shown in, let's see here. This is the constellation of Sirius. Canis Major, we call the Great Cow, and here's Sirius here in her horns. This is the Queen Mother. Okay. And then we have the ancestors in the Osar mysteries here in Orion, which is the Tree of Life and the Meridian system. And then we had the overall priestcraft was ruled by this god here, Tehuti, the god of priest, wisdom, and knowledge. And he controlled the moon. Here's the moon. And here he is controlling it. Okay, he's the essence or quintessence of the moon. So all the priestcraft in general would watch the moon. These are the phases of the moon. This is from new moon, first crescent moon, and then we go to full moon here. Okay, and it goes backwards and it jumps to here as the finale. And so all the priests would have to honor the moon. We call Konsur Abed or Tehuti Ach. And this meant that when you do divinations, you must be very careful what moon phase and what the moon's condition is in when you're doing readings, prophecies, predictions. And that's everything. So let's make sure we got all of our notes here. Yes. So that's how we organize leadership in our realm. I pray you enjoyed this. And remember, in my world, it is all love. So may you all be surrounded by the wings of love of the Lady Nut, the Queen of the universe. Dwell in Hotepu.